Ah yes, finally time for Foodie Friday, and move over kale because today a new vegetable is trending.
That's right, we're talking about an ocean veggie, seaweed. You may not know, Oregon is actually home to the largest land-based seaweed farm in the country. Alanna Kieffer is here from Oregon Seaweed to dig into some delicious and nutritious details. Good morning.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. Yeah, I had no idea. We have this huge seaweed farm, the biggest in the country, out here on the coast. Tell us about Oregon Seaweed. Why farm it?
Yeah, so Oregon Seaweed is a land-based farm located on the shores of Garibaldi, and seaweed farming is definitely picking up traction more and more around the U.S. It's been going on everywhere else for a very long time, but it's a super sustainable, very earth-friendly vegetable. So there's no fresh water involved in our farming, no pesticides, no herbicides. It takes up very little space for how much seaweed we can be growing, and it's a very nutritious food source. So just looking at the future of food and needing new food sources that aren't, taking from our planet is really what we're looking at.
Pardon my naivete, but how can you farm seaweed with like such little water?
We don't need fresh water, so it just needs salt water, right? We're directly on the bay. We just pump water straight in from the bay.
Well, it's cool. I mean, it's something that, a lot of us probably have never stopped to think about, but when you see it at work, you're like, oh my gosh, farmed seaweed. This actually could make a lot of sense. And that's also some of the work you do. You're a marine science educator at Shifting Tides. Tell us a little bit about that organization.
Yeah, so I have a company where I do coastal education workshops. I take people tide pooling and wandering through the intertidal and do a lot of foraging workshops, so really just teaching people where their food is coming from. There's a lot of work being done in Oregon's food systems to make our food systems more sustainable, and teaching people about what sustainable seafood even means and how to access it is a huge part of the work that I do.
Yeah, so that's the where it came from, and now to the where it's going. It's called dulse, is what it's
Pacific
called?
dulse.
Dulse.
Yeah.
How do people use it? How do they eat it?
There's so many ways to use it, and I think, in our culture, people really only see seaweed in seaweed salads, which is typically wakame, a specific type of seaweed, or in sushi, where you see nori sheets used as the rolls. But I like to think of seaweeds as a sea vegetable because there's hundreds of different kinds of them. You can use them in all different ways. If you don't like nori sheets, so to say, I'm actually not the biggest nori sheet fan. But if you prepare nori in a different way, I do tend to like it more.
Oh, interesting.
So it's just to say that, if you don't like one seaweed, don't assume that you hate all seaweeds. Try another type of seaweed, try a different preparation of it.
It's kind of like the grocery store you go, you see like romaine lettuce and arugula and butterleaf lettuce and iceberg lettuce. There's like all different kinds. Okay, cool.
And seaweed is not the first thing on people's mind when they go to their retail store and look in the produce aisle. But one of the benefits of Pacific dulse is that it has a relatively long shelf life. So we can sell it fresh to retail. And now instead of getting processed or dried seaweeds, you can go to, say, your local New Seasons and you can buy fresh Pacific dulse grown an hour and a half from Portland, and you can use it just like kale or spinach. They, again, like you said, they've all had their moments, but seaweed is more nutritious than kale or spinach, and you can use it just like a leafy green.
Well, so you brought in a little bit for us. I thought we'd give it a little try. So this is just fresh dulse plucked right out of the farm.
Yes. Yeah? So I gave you just the fresh, and you can try it just like that. And then I also fried it. So this is just fried in olive oil, and there's no seasonings added to this. This is just the olive oil. You'll notice it changes color when it hits heat. So these are the exact same thing. They're just prepared differently.
Yeah, kind of similar to, how you put like a giant bowl of spinach in a pan and it cooks down to like 4 spinach leaves. It does kind of cook down a little bit.
Does the same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It does. The flavor is really good.
You gotta try that. That is so legit.
The flavors are so different, and all I did was put that in olive oil.
It does have that nice salty bite, little seawater. And then you just fry it up. Wow.
Yeah. So, it's a really easy veggie to use. Just throwing it in a stir fry it's as easy as that.
Yeah. Wow. And it actually is really good. Like I said, I am not the most committed to my health, but maybe today is when I start.
Hey, well, if you want to check it out, you said it's at New Seasons, right? So you can find it in your local New Seasons store and take it home, add it to a recipe. Give it a try.
We have a lot of recipes on our website as well.
Okay.
Alanna, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, Oregon Seaweed's Alanna Kieffer, thanks for joining us, and you can find their dulse at your local New Season store. And if you want to learn more, check out OregonSeaweed.com.